Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Come into the show. As you can see, I was not fully prepared to come on live today. This is not the office. This is not a place that I usually stream from. Um, and like I'm sort of on an improvised setup right now. But major news came out, and the next time I was going to be live was going to be able to be live is only Monday. Um, and I figured I can't wait until then to discuss this news. So, because I don't have my usual setup, I'm not going to be able to share my screen very much. But nevertheless, we should discuss the news. So, Donald Trump announced on Truth Social. Oh, and by the way, this stream is probably going to be shorter than usual. I'm strictly coming on to talk about this news. We'll see how long it takes and what the live discussion is going to be like. So it might just be an hour, even less. We'll see, just based on what happens and um, how much discussion there is, whether there's any breaking news, because this is still developing. Um, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So hello, RG Rappaport. Hello, Kathy. Durud. Um, Nika is correctly pointing out that your likes increase the number of views and allows us Iranians to better show the reality to the world. So please hit the like button. So I'm not talking about Iranians in this show specifically. This is the Israel geopolitics update corner of Liberty Politics, but Liberty Politics in general is one of the leading places talking about the Iranians and the inhumane treatment that they receive from the Islamic regime. Um, and so liking the stream increases its visibility and therefore increases the visibility of Liberty Politics, where you can get all that information. The monkey is asking me how many times has this happened? Feels like a few. We'll discuss this as well. It's not for nothing that it feels like it happened a few times. I'll explain why today. And Leo is here saying Shabbat Shalom, Leo. As is Kevin, Shabbat Shalom, Kevin. All right. So Trump came out with the following Truth Social. Today, the Board of Peace, and again, I'm not going to do the voice this time specifically, just because I sort of scrambled this together, still catching my breath and so on. Today, the Board of Peace reached a historic agreement for the complete disarmament of Hamas and all other armed groups in Gaza. This is a monumental step towards lasting peace and security. Now, there are several key aspects of this, as we will see later. Total disarmament of Hamas, complete disarmament of Hamas, right now has an asterisk. We'll need to see how things develop. The framework agreement, the phrasing of it, doesn't guarantee that. An all armed group in Gaza, so you could say, okay, so the Islamic Jihad is also disarming. That's the second largest armed group in Gaza, and they work alongside with Hamas. However, all other armed groups in Gaza also include the militias who are who stand in opposition to Hamas, and that's going to be a major issue because some of those are supported by Israel, and in general, the idea is to not have Hamas stay in control. Okay. This agreement is a critical step towards Gaza finally being governed by a new Palestinian government that will work closely with the Board of Peace to help the Palestinian people. At the same time, Israel will have the security it deserves, with Gaza no longer used as a base for terror attacks. We'll see. As we will. So really, just before the show came on, more details about the plan have come out. My biggest takeaway is that I don't think this is going to be implemented. After we go through the details, I'll explain why. This is a major milestone in the implementation of the Trump 20-point plan. The agreement will be carried out in carefully structured phases. As disarmament is completed, Israeli forces will withdraw, and the International Stabilization Force will work with the new Palestinian police force to take responsibility for Gaza being safe for its residents and its neighbors. This is a critical part of it. As this armament is completed, Israeli forces will withdraw. But it seems that the actual phrasing doesn't quite support this. And I think what's happening here is another Witkoff special where you sign an agreement that's ambiguous enough to where both sides can assume it says something that it doesn't. Oh, Superior's here. Hi, Majoni. Yes, I'm going to send you a link. Yes, having another person here today would be very beneficial. Yes, I'm going to send Sapir a link. Okay, you should have it on, should have received it. Okay. So Witkoff likes making deals that are ambiguous, but because it leads like forward, it essentially pushes the things that are difficult or problematic to the side. Hey, Sapir.
Hi.
And that's what he did with the original 20-point peace plan. That's what he did with the MOU, and I think that's what he's doing now. And that doesn't actually lead to solutions, I don't think. I think it just pushes the problem a few steps back, with the hopes that maybe you can find a solution then. So my TLDR is I don't think anything is going to come of it, but we will see.
I'll just say that Hamas already said that they're not going to start anything until all of the Israeli forces are out. So it's a very, because it's not the first time we have talks like that. It's not the first time we have statements like this. It's just a repeatable thing. It's a cycle, and they keep announcing things like that. But it's clear that Hamas doesn't. It's trying to avoid any possible way it can. So I'm like, I don't believe anything will happen, and I think it's just a show. I think it feels again like the Iran talks. It's the whole, you don't negotiate with terrorists. You don't negotiate with terrorists because of this, because they're not gonna hold up to anything, and they never do. They never have. What makes this time different? They already saying that they're not gonna follow the agreement the way they want it to be. And then you also have the jihad, which is a separate organization in Gaza that already said that they don't approve any of this, that they are not going to be part of any of this. And so even if Hamas is somehow going to disarm, a good chance that we'll just go to jihad and they'll just replace them.
Yeah. Someone keeps saying, at the minimum, I remember 2 other times I heard this exact same news, because, so here's what happened. The original 20-point peace plan, Hamas said, I accept this, and then described it as a completely separate document than what was put forth. And then Israel said, they're not accepting it. And then Trump basically called and said, hold on a second, and put out a message. Thank you for Hamas for accepting the plan.
Yeah.
Which eventually ended up being the critical move that led to the hostages being returned. Because it was framed as Hamas is accepting this plan, because based on their own words. And then, well, you're not going to go back on your word, right? And so it led to the framework that led to the return of the hostages. And the people on the American side were saying about this. So this has been in the works for several months, and people like Ariel Kahana, who is a reporter about U.S. politics in Israel Hayom, said that in speaking with Americans, the idea was essentially, look, we're going to try to get them to disarm diplomatically. Israel was like, fine. They're not going to, but fine. And the Americans are like, well, you said the same thing about the hostages. We'll see. And from Israel's side, as long as you don't have to withdraw before this is done, this is fine. It's sort of like Lebanon. Either they do the thing they agreed to do, at which point they will not have arms. And by arms, I don't mean they will be, they will lose limbs. I mean, they won't have guns. And even if not, or even if they do it partially, they'll have less guns than they did when this started. So if Israel is not expected to withdraw before the full disarmament, it's not an issue. The reason you heard this several times is because the Americans pretended that Hamas agreed to terms that Hamas has not agreed to. They said we accept the framework, and then what they described the framework as was very different than the actual framework. But okay, they accepted the framework, and now you need to actually get them to accept the different components of the framework, namely disarming and so on.
There's also a statement from Hamas from about half an hour ago.
I'm gonna get there from Ravi Hamad.
Yeah. Okay. So you don't want me to read it out right now? Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna get there in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, but I also like to mention that the agreements with Lebanon is not the same as saying it. Yeah, but the main reason is that it's an agreement with Lebanon, not an agreement with Hezbollah. Because if you want to have anything like relatively equal, then it would be like, they would have an agreement with Hezbollah, but we don't even have that. So it's just very doubtful that anything gonna.
Mm-hmm.
Monkey is asking. Yeah, Monkey is asking, can't you just send Egypt to beat the shot out of them?
It's not.
Keep in mind, Egypt have their own stuff to deal with. Egypt has the Muslim Brotherhood inside that they need to deal with, and obviously Hamas is a branch of them. There is a reason they built a multi-layer wall from Gaza. They don't want to be any a part of it, and I can't even blame them.
Yep. I can blame them for not allowing Palestinians to leave a war zone. Even as a step in the way towards a third country, but I can't blame them for not wanting
that, because it's protecting their own borders, because they know as well as we do how many Hamas members are dressed up as civilians, and even though a lot of civilians dislike Hamas, they still support the ideology. And in general, every country won't be able to just take a huge amount of people at the same time. So I don't even blame them for that. Like maybe of like not having any kind of a plan, or doing the whole bribe things of like you have to pay $10,000. That is something that I can blame them for, because that's just corrupt. But overall, like they're protecting their own borders.
So to clarify, I'm not blaming them for not taking in refugees. I'm blaming them for not even allowing, which is sort of, I think you said the same thing. So I think we're in agreement here. That the thing I blame them for is not even allowing people to pass through the Egyptian border just on the way towards other places. And you don't have to let all of them out. It can be like, okay, this country is willing to accept 5,000. Let's let 5,000 out, and in an orderly fashion to go to that third country. And I think the reason for doing that is to maximize the blame on Israel for hurting innocent Palestinians. Okay, now critically, this agreement is not with Israel. This agreement is between the U.S. via mediators, specifically Egypt, Qatar, and Turkey. And again, Qatar and Turkey are pro-Hamas. And it sort of shows in how the deal is formulated. Although apparently Hamas, a lot of pressure had to be applied on Hamas to sign even this. Okay, so in response to this, a state leader. So like just now, a few seconds ago, there was another update, but I'll get to that in a bit. An official an official member of the Israeli political leadership said the topic of Gaza did not come up at all in the meeting between Prime Minister Netanyahu and President Trump. Israel is demanding the full disarmament of Hamas, including taking the weapons out of Gaza and a complete demilitarization of the Gaza Strip as a prior condition to any other process. Meaning you have to do that first, and then we can talk about the other things. The 15-point document in question that was signed by the mediators and Hamas, there is not a sufficient agreement to these demands, and Israel has made its hesitations known on the subject to Tony Blair, who is the envoy for the peace peace council. There will not be an Israeli withdrawal from the yellow line in the Gaza Strip before the disarmament of Hamas and the demilitarization of the Gaza Strip. Meanwhile, the yellow blocks that I showed people watching the stream, they got to Nasreddin, which is essentially the main highway in the Gaza Strip. They got to points on Nasreddin, but the idea is that it was encroaching on major Hamas territory.
The specific quote that I would wanted to say is there will from a Hamas spokesperson, there will be no progress.
I'm going to get there in a second.
Agreement. Yeah.
So Ghazi Hamid said we will not take any step of disarmament before a complete Israeli withdrawal from the Gaza Strip. Is that what you were going to read? If you have something else, then go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's it. Like it has more to it. I don't know if you're seeing only this part.
Yeah, I'm only so I only saved this part. But if you have more, go ahead. If you have more of the quote, go ahead.
So there will be no progress on the agreement without the following conditions: a complete Israel withdrawal from the Gaza Strip, achieving early recovering, the entry of administrative committee, rehabilitation, ensuring the right to self-determination, the establishment of an independent Palestinian state, and the protection of the rights of the citizens, which the last part is very, very ironic and funny coming from Hamas.
Yes, these terrorists, they're usually fans of irony. That's the reason to do it, not to lie through their teeth, but because they're fans of irony.
But we're seeing that it's beyond just like the withdrawal of Israel. They are saying, "Oh, we want to recover ourselves first before anything." So, what do you mean by recover yourself? What does that mean? Because that's a very vague thing. And usually, when we talk about Hamas recovering itself, it's organizing the ranks. It's arming itself. Yeah. So that just sounds like the cycle of like, okay, so in a year and a half, we'll have missiles coming from Gaza again.
Yeah. Or worse, because we've seen that it can get much worse. And Israel is never going to accept anything that even remotely touches on the on the possibility that maybe something like that could happen again. It's not going to happen. So Monkey, I think there was a misunderstanding. I literally covered this yesterday. It literally says Egypt first, then says Qatar, and then says Turkey. I didn't say not Egypt. I think either you misheard or I misspoke. I never meant to say not Egypt. It explicitly says that Egypt, Qatar, and Turkey are the mediators that led to this. So if I said not Egypt, I misspoke, or maybe I wasn't clear enough. But Egypt is one of the mediators. Qatar and Turkey are pro-Hamas. I said not Egypt, maybe in the sense of not Egypt is not pro-Hamas. That if I said not Egypt, that would be what I meant.
Okay, Amir is asking a great question, and I want to answer.
You can press it. You can press it, and then it'll show up on the thing.
Wait, I don't think I can do it.
Oh, it might be a. Okay, it might be a permissions thing. So 1 second, I'm going to get to it. So Hamas shouldn't have territory. Sean is saying, I agree. They should be executed. Israel isn't leaving. Sapir, it's not. Is it Sapir is not just funding their survival plan? Is that the one? Or
Is there a way
something
from
further down?
Israel to
Oh, okay,
differentiate?
found it.
Yeah. So there are some things that Israel has. There's face recognition programs using drones that Israel uses, but you won't be able to have all of them. It's usually for the higher ranking ones, and we gotta also like remember that there were a couple of claims from Hamas itself that throughout the past like year and a half they managed to record another like a few thousands of people in which we don't really have data on, and that's one of the reasons this war was taking so long for the first place, because they try to differentiate between, and it's just really hard. This is why we also had to put boots in the ground. One of the
Yep.
one of the reason, but one of the main reasons, in my opinion, because in the end, unless the person with the press suit didn't have a gun in its hand and there was no face recognition program that identified him, it's very hard to know, is he civilian or is he Hamas member?
Yep.
That is the unfortunate reality of not just this war but urban wars in general when we're talking about embedded terrorist organizations.
Yeah. Okay. So a few more. A senior official in the Peace Council said in an interview to N12, starting from day one, Israel and Hamas told us they don't believe each other. So we built a proposal. By the way, I already dislike this equivocation or equating between Israel and Hamas. So we built a proposal that's based on zero trust and that we will ensure the performance of each step. For the first time, Hamas and the Palestinian sects have agreed to demilitarize Gaza and transfer the responsibility to security services and civilian services and the civilian services to the technocratic government, and also the implementation of the agreement will take time. When it's over, the technocratic government will hold a monopoly on weapons in the Gaza Strip. We'll see. Based on the 15 points, I don't see that actually happening. The agreement clarifies that Hamas is giving up any civilian and security involvement in the governance of Gaza. Okay, so
Not gonna happen, and they already declared that they don't agree with it. And now an Israeli official also said Israel has repeatedly made it clear that there will be no IDF withdrawal from the current yellow line without the genuine disarmament of Hamas. So we are again stuck at that line that we've been stuck at this entire time.
yes, and that's why I said at the beginning that I don't think anything is actually going to happen. So the Peace Council then said earlier today, this roadmap is a historic achievement, as since for the first time Hamas has officially obligated itself to a practical, implementable plan, and the roadmap states that Hamas will disarm completely, and then Israel will withdraw from the Gaza Strip. But again, after we see the 15 points, it doesn't quite look that way.
There's also a history of a very clear history, and we see it a lot, especially with the agreements of Iran, of both sides basically saying, oh, there's an agreement or there is no agreement. The details are about this and the details about this. And then the proposition itself is very different when it finally comes out. So we also need to be aware of that.
Okay. So a question by a citizen: is there a rift between the Sunni and Shia in Gaza? Yes, the rift is that the Sunni exist in Gaza and the Shia do not. They're there may
Yeah.
be. I can count the number of Shia in Gaza on my hands.
That's also an interesting perspective, because there are a few people that resisting Hamas, and they resisted for a while. Not even just because of the conditions Hamas put them in, but because they're as Sunni, collaborating with Shia, with Iran. So that's also a very interesting thing that I saw. A few of the militias actually that came in Gaza in the past, I say 10 years, were very heavily against Hamas because they are basically betrayers of the Sunni way.
Yeah, that's a very common. The fact that Hamas is a proxy of Iran, i.e., the IRGC, has made a lot of Sunnis really uncomfortable and did not help the already low standing that Palestinians have in the Arab world. Let's put it that way. Okay, so here are some of the points from the draft. Now this is a draft. This is the draft on which Hamas and the Palestinian sects agreed on.
Can you share it?
And it's in Hebrew.
Okay.
So I'm gonna translate it live. And I'm also hide current comment. All right. This draft regards the process of collecting and storing the heavy equipment, the military manufacturing sites, and the arms warehouses and the tunnels. So already this is not talking about like personal guns. And theoretically, that is the way that they can keep control in the shadows, by threatening people with personal guns. That's one problem.
They also will claim that all the guns are personal guns, like that they don't even, it doesn't even have to be.
No, personal, not in the sense of ownership. Personal in the sense of the size of the weapon. Like heavy, they're going to collect heavy weaponry, and like manufacturing sites. So they're going to take over manufacturing sites, arms storage facilities, and tunnels, which is all great, but it does leave open the problem of personal carry weapons. So Kalashnikovs, pistols, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
The beginning of the process of collecting and storing the weapons hinges on the final performance of obligations that are still left open from the Sharm el-Sheikh Protocol. And I think that's the 20-point peace plan, the Sharm el-Sheikh Protocol, but I could be wrong. If you know anything better, let me know. The beginning of the process of weapons collection has to do with the entry of the National Committee and the deployment of the stabilization force, the International Stabilization Force in the Gaza Strip. Israel has agreed to allow 200 or so soldiers to come in and allegedly and presumably start collecting guns. Now, these forces are from friendly countries, so that's not a problem, but it's only 200 soldiers. The National Committee would be responsible for the management and application of the collection and storage process. Within 14 days, a schedule will be made to conduct the weapons collection process. So this is a key phrase, which is also vague, which again makes me think that Witchkoff has his hands in this. The collection, the stages of the collections of the weapons are tied to gradual Israeli withdrawal from the areas that Israel controls in the Gaza Strip. What does it mean ties to? It's tied to. Does that mean Israel will start withdrawing afterwards? Does it mean Israel will start withdrawing throughout? Like this is vague, and that's why Hamas is saying, well, Israel has to withdraw first, obviously. But both Trump and the peace committee is saying, no, this will be done, and then Israel will withdraw. Okay, the draft emphasizes that no weapons would be transferred or otherwise given to Israel or any non-Palestinian entity. The National Committee, again, National Palestinian Committee, will be the sole entity that holds, stores, and controls weapons in the Gaza Strip. And again, it really depends on what the constitution of this committee would be, who would be in it, and so on. This could be okay, and this could be horrible.
And I just want to emphasize that this entire agreement was not done with Israel in the talks at all.
Right. Yeah, Israel was not part of this.
I don't see how any of this is even relevant to us.
Yeah, this is a very weird way of working.
They did the same thing with Hezbollah, and Hezbollah immediately broke that agreement. Like I'm starting to feel like, what's even the point of discussing the possibility of this agreement?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I think it's a waste of time, but maybe it's like to provide a legitimacy to Israel once it fails to go in. That can that's the best case, but I mostly think it's just a waste of time. So, Kath, I'll go through some of the comments quickly. This might be a slick question. I thought the Sunni and Shia hate each other, so why is the RDC supporting Hamas? One, interests, and two, they hate the Jews more.
Yeah, if there is one thing that have united the Shia and Sunni together is the hate for the Zionist entity.
Yeah. So Amir is saying this is going to be relevant to the next point I want to bring up. Also, haven't we seen how Hamas treat those who even spoke to Israelis? If you might be a Zionist traitor, they'll kill you. No trial, no talking about it. Yes, they'll execute you on the streets.
Not even that doesn't even have to be. They can speculate.
Yeah, if they think
if they like you.
Yeah, which is what the RGC is also doing. They use a lot of the same tactics. I think Hamas learned them from the RGC. That if you want to kill someone, you just say, oh, they're cooperating with the Zionists, and then you just execute them in the street. Okay, I see what Monkey is saying. Yuda is saying Hebrew is sexist, speak Hebrew. This is actually
we actually have a thing about that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm talking about Mered Khalifin. Because so there's a Druze person, a couple of Druze people. They have a podcast and they provide news about Lebanon mostly, and they start every stream with "Hello, Hebrews and Shebrews."
No, I am talking about the movement that was a few years ago to basically make all language in Hebrew neutral. So they try to find a way to change the words in Hebrew. And I remember because my university is pretty leftist, they try to implement it in a way, and it was just embarrassing for everyone.
Yep.
Because for the people who don't know, so Hebrew is one of those many languages that everything has a gender, basically. Like objects can be either female or male. Description could be either female or male. So it's like,
yeah, it's a gendered language, and so it makes certain progressive things more difficult to do.
There's another question here.
Yeah, there are several. I started some of them. Once I want to go through all the comments to make sure. Okay. So 400 years ago. What about transfers? You had a Latinx era, basically. Yeah, it's basically the same. Um, but we don't still have. I mean, no, that's not true. It is still used by. It's not the same because it is at least the native speakers of this language promoting it, as opposed to whites that don't speak Spanish in America promoting Latinx.
No, just some of the feminist groups uh, in Israel. There is a question by Shauna that I like to address. Why does the West insist in treating these people like they are not psychotic murderers?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, do you want to highlight that?
Yeah, I saw it earlier.
Yeah, it's a bit up.
I can't find it. Sorry.
It's basically after it's basically a bit before people called this entire thing retarded.
I mean that's the whole chat. You're gonna have to be a bit more specific.
But okay, I'm just gonna
Yeah, just respond to it. I'm looking for it, but just respond to it. Meanwhile.
Yeah. So why does the West insist in treating these people like they are not psychotic murderers? I have two potential answers for that. One is what you want to present to your people. So keep in mind, a lot of countries, a lot of people in the West that have never experienced the mentality of the Middle East. The mentality of the Middle East is actually a very hard thing to comprehend if you've grew your entire life in a regular Western country. It's a very hard concept. So when politicians will talk about that, will probably want to treat the masses in the way that will make sense to them. Because go explain to a person that grew up with an entire Western values viewpoint that there are countries where terrorism is not just ruling, but it's the main ideology where a majority of people support it. It's a very hard concept to grasp. So there's a way of referring to the public, and as I've been doing Hasbara for the past few years, I had to learn how to refrain certain things in a very certain way so it will be understandable to Westerners. And it's also like the other response that I have, it can be all just talks. It can be what Guy said earlier of like, okay, you want to do all the formalities of like, oh, we try to talk with them, oh, we try to do this and this, they're not agreeing, now we can bomb, like getting the international justification. So those are like the two biggest options, the two biggest possibilities that I personally think about it.
Yeah, so real quickly, IDF kills children. Thank you for the super chat. I'm not going to read it because of the crass language. But thank you for paying me money, you fucking moron. I deleted it was too crass. But basically I'll because he paid money, I'm gonna say the parts that I feel comfortable saying. Javid Mujtaba, the RGC rocks, Islam is the best, woohoo. That's basically what it was. And he paid money to say that. Now, he paid money to hear me talk about the crass part that he put at the end, but I'm not going to.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's so bad that doesn't feel like getting out of his little cave. So sad.
Yeah. But they totally won, by the way. Okay. So real quickly, so Hamid Jafari, thank you for becoming a YouTube member to Liberty Politics. Same for Kevin for gifting a membership. Thank you so much, Kevin. Okay. Rorschach is saying from Hamas perspective, it'll be Hudna, an Islamic pause for the purpose of living to regroup and fight another day. not a real truce, let alone peace. Correct. Um, Josh, the homesteader, Israel clearly stated they're pulling back their military. This is not true. Israel clearly
I
stated that they're not pulling back their military.
Yeah, if anything, they said we are not part of this agreement. They clarified it again and again. We weren't even part of those talks. We are not going away. As maybe you're talking about Lebanon specifically, where they pulled out in a few sittings with the coordination of the
The
Lebanese
Lebanese army.
military. But
Yeah.
in Gaza, there is no sense of that because there's no one really to have negotiations with in Gaza.
And also, like, not only would that be national suicide, meaning that you're allowing Hamas, you're giving Hamas the chance to regroup after Israel said never again. It would be political suicide to the nth degree by Netanyahu if this is allowed to happen. So it's not going to happen. There is no way that this is going to happen. So Kevin is asking, could you vet Gazans and pay them to identify those in Hamas? We tried that, and you can vet like the 50 of them who would pass the vetting, and then those 50 would be murdered by Hamas. I mean, it's not, Hamas right now controls most of the Arab population in Gaza. So it's not like you have the power. It's like asking the Iranian people, can you vet people, asking Israel, can you vet Iranian people and pay them to identify those in IRGC? You could. It's just not where the power balance is right now.
I don't think that's a good comparison to do.
No, it's not the same because most Gazans are also on the side of Hamas as opposed to being against it.
It's beyond that. I think there's the element of control and fear. Well, in the IRGC and people that I talk with from Iran has said that they can definitely feel the change. Like, for instance, the weakening of the modesty police. They feel the change in the air. Hamas, what they've been doing is actually very smart. Is every leverage they could take to demonstrate power on their civilians, they did it, and they did it pretty well. So the element of fear, I think, would be stronger in Gaza because, like I said, a lot of people that are opposing Hamas, they might agree with the ideology anyways, just think that either Hamas failed them or that Hamas is a traitor because they're teaming up with the Shia. But I want to remind everyone that from the start of the war, a lot of the leaflets that the IDF threw down weren't just the leaflets of evacuation. There were leaflets of, have you seen these people? Or do you know what, you have any information? Call this specific number or find a way through this and you will get rewarded. And it got to the point of tens of thousands of shekels, which is a lot when we're talking, especially in Gaza. It's a lot here as well, but in Gaza, it's life changing.
Yeah.
So there is the aspect of fear. There's the aspect of the ideology of you don't betray your Muslim brothers, especially not to the Jews. That's a big element as well. Like that it's the Jews. It just, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So this actually goes really well into. Oh, sorry. Wait. Why is the share screen? Should be here.
There we go.
There we go. Oh, I also forgot to put the comments on. So we'll do this, and we will show
it's
comments.
Okay. I keep saying by accident Iran instead of the regime of the IRGC. People,
it's years.
People know, and most Iranians are very forgiving of that. Because they know the intention.
Yeah. Okay. So this is Ahmed Fouad El Khatib, who is, I always say, if he was a proper representation of Palestinian society, then there would be peace.
Oh yeah.
He is a true peace activist, actually looking for peace, not a something that masquerades as peace to advance further in the war to destroy the Jews.
He's one
This is
of the
what he
only
has to say.
people I've seen that truly cares about the Palestinians.
Yes, yes, and this will come through this comment. So reporting on Hamas's supposed willingness to disarm should be met with intrigue, but must also be treated with firm skepticism. The heavy weapons Hamas claims it is ready to relinquish serve as a convenient smokescreen. Even without these weapons, the group would still retain more than enough firepower and coercive leverage to dominate Gaza's population, undermine the transitional technocratic governance committee efforts, and pursue a Hezbollah-style influence from the shadows model. In reality, Hamas now possesses few true heavy weapons, a few hundred mortar launchers, short-range rockets, RPGs, hand grenades, and a substantial stock of IEDs, including devices built from unexploded Israeli munitions. The core of the heavy weapons that is of value to Hamas is the tunnel networks and embedded weapons manufacturing workshops, which Hamas now says it will map out and surrender. So that is important. Any deployment of the International Stabilization Forces or newly trained Palestinian police under the NCAG umbrella, again, the Transitional Technocratic Governance Committee, remains many months away due to logistics, financing, and training. Until then, Hamas will continue exercising full control over Gaza's population and will have ample time to craft contingency plans to preserve relevance and influence. And just as there is no olive oil without olives, there is no Hamas without weapons and armed resistance. Some members may genuinely want to evolve and enter a political process, and they may, but they are unlikely to do so sustainably and successfully while still operating under the Hamas banner and identity. Ultimately, the men with guns inside Gaza, not political figures abroad, hold real authority. Hamas is under severe pressure, which may explain why this announcement resembles its earlier claim to have dissolved its governance apparatus. And again, Monkey, that's why you heard it several times. Even as it maintained full control on the ground. The group's incoming leader, Khalil Hayeh, underscored this reality last week with a fiery speech doubling down on victory, armed resistance, alignment with Iran, and the Islamist jihadi ethos central to the organization's identity and political agenda. Gaza's future desperately needs a disarmed Hamas and a demilitarized territory that can finally move away from the armed resistance narrative towards the nation-building agenda in pursuit of progress, peace, and coexistence. So this is a Palestinian who truly cares about Palestinian lives.
You have like RG Rappaport. I'm sorry, I don't.
Oh yeah, RG Rappaport.
But many of his family, up to 13, were killed early after October 7th, and he blames Netanyahu for Hamas. Even though I do like him, have listened to many of his podcasts. You don't have to agree with everything that he says, but we are talking.
He doesn't need. Yeah, so go ahead.
We are talking about an actual Palestinian, an actual person that even though he suffered so many losses, he is willing and wanting to see a better future. He understands that war should have no place, that Hamas should not be there, and even though he is critical or maybe falls to some points of what we will call propaganda, he is the real deal. He is the person you can talk with and negotiate with if you want a better future for Gaza and a better future for Palestinians.
Yeah. Okay, so another quick question. I do remember hearing that unlike Iran, the people of Gaza voted for Hamas. I'm thinking now this is true. Oh yeah, it's very true. They voted them in. I mean, it was 20 years ago, but they did vote them in. And all polling shows that they would vote them in again now. At least in the West Bank.
I want to clear something out about it, right? So in 2006, when there were the elections between the PA and Hamas, the PA got 40%, and Hamas got 44%. So let's keep that in mind, that it was pretty tight. Now, in 2007, Hamas went on a killing spree and massacred PA supporters and PA members that were in Gaza.
Threw them from rooftops.
Yeah, to make sure that they'll be fully dominant, because at the start, even though Hamas was elected, the PA was still in control. But what we see now is we don't even need to look at the votes, because I don't like to be like, oh, they voted like 20 years ago. What I like to talk about is, yeah, okay, they were voted 20 years ago. Half of the population of Gazans are under
Is
18.
under.
That means that 18, that half of the population had this entire time to be only under Hamas education, only under Hamas propaganda, and this is why they would, at least, at the very, very least, support the ideology.
Yeah, exactly. This is a point. That's the black pill. A black pill I talked about really close to October 7th. I tried to get some YouTuber to understand the predicament. I failed. He's now like pro Tucker Carlson, like saying, "Well, surely you're going to vote for Tucker Carlson, right?" So I failed miserably. But basically, that's the black pill. The Hamas has been in control of Gaza for 20 years. The median age in Gaza is 18, and so most people in Gaza were born into Hamas rule and into Hamas education.
And we all know about the summer camps of Hamas.
Yeah,
They had their TV shows like Tomorrow's Pioneers. They had the little website. I forgot how it was called, but they had a website and a newspaper, and a newspaper for kids, and magazines and stuff like that, like all aimed at those kids. They didn't really have too much of a chance to see any other way, and some of them still do, which I think is one of them of the most amazing things that I've ever seen, that there are few Gazans under 18 that rejected the ideology completely in the 2018 We Want to Live movement protests.
right. Yeah, so I mean, we don't really know what the percentage is in Gaza, and we know that indoctrination doesn't necessarily work, like in Iran, but there's a difference between the national ethos sort of agrees with Hamas. Like, it's not anti-Hamas enough to make a difference. Yes, Amir is saying, don't forget to subscribe to Guy. I will quickly put my channel in the chat, and also Sapir, feel free to put yours, because Sapir also has a channel. And obviously, like the stream, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. Let's see. So there's updates coming in. I want to briefly go through some of the start comments I have here. Shauna is saying Turkey and Qatar are just Hamas. They aren't different. Correct. I mean, it's Muslim Brotherhood. You highlight Monkeys said a while ago. You highlighted in the comments, said Egypt doesn't want to be a part of it. They have to deal with the Muslim Brotherhood and change the topic to passage. Maybe you said something later. So Egypt right now, the International Stabilization Force, if you're talking about that, it has a total from all countries of 200 soldiers. There's a huge difference between that and Egypt actively sending its own named police officers into Gaza to like rule it. That's very unlikely to happen. There was a point at the war where it could have happened. It's not going to happen now. And Egypt doesn't want that kind of pressure, especially not the internal pressure, because the population is lacking a lot of resources and are slowly being radicalized by the Muslim Brotherhood. And so, like, this would be a regime risking move to make, to actively send soldiers openly against Hamas, because the population is very pro Hamas, even though the Egyptian leadership is against them.
By the way, there's also the connotation of what will happen to Hamas if they agree to any of those agreements. Because keep in mind, you think Hamas is extreme, but there are people that are more extreme than Hamas. Like I said earlier, there are people in Gaza that hate Hamas because they failed, in their opinion, at achieving the goal. And it, again, the concept of the Middle East, of only the strong survive, you have to show strength all the time. You're not allowed to look weak. And if Hamas agrees to a deal that the population will see is less beneficial to it, they will eat Hamas alive.
Yes.
Give me a second, I'll be right back.
Okay, so I'll go through the comments meanwhile. So Yuda is saying, besides, guy, I found the numbers. Hamas executed more civilians than people died on both sides since the ceasefire until last Wednesday. Yes, but no one cares because it's not Jews killing them. But people very much care about Palestinians, right? And then a citizen asked, could Israel bomb Hamas anytime they execute civilians? No, because you have it's out in the open in the square, and you have the people around them executing by gun. It's not hanging. It's just standing behind them, executing them. And then you have a circle of civilians that are supporting it and cheering it on in the background. And so you can say you have to bomb the place. If you bomb the place, you kill the people you're trying to save, and you also kill a whole bunch of civilians that are supportive of the execution. And that's a reality you have to understand about Gaza. That's the Gazan society. There are videos going around, very clear videos. They're just not circulating because they don't make Jews look bad, and they actually make Jews look better of exactly what kind of processes these are and what it looks like to live in Gaza. Soapbox is saying Landau needs a haircut. Stay tuned. I agree, and this will happen next week. Okay, so if Israel and Lebanon can make a deal with us, why can't Israel and Egypt make a deal to get rid of Hamas? I'm sure you'll say they hate us, but let's not underestimate how annoying Hamas can be. So the Egyptian government, yes, if you could do this in secret with no one knowing, sure. The problem is that the Egyptian population would not tolerate this, unlike the Lebanese population. In Lebanon, most of the people, as I showed in the last stream, or the stream before that, I think it was the last stream, most of the people are for peace with Israel. It's only the Shia who are against it, and so you have public support for the move. In Egypt, you absolutely do not have that public support. Mikey's bag of meat is saying, is this 2001 Potato Camp Tech? Yes, I'm not in my usual office. I sort of had to go live because of this breaking news. But yeah, this is not ideal, but it is what we have. Tiger Morris is asking, is Jew hater here or that other moron? It's the other moron. It's the IDF one. Kill Quill. I'm terrified Trump's going to extort Bibi into leaving Gaza with Hamas under a different name in power. I don't think Netanyahu has stood on his hind legs for less. Like, this would be the red line of all red lines. I absolutely do not see this happening under any circumstances. Maybe even if Trump offers to end the Islamic Republic in exchange. It's that level of no way this is happening. Okay. Yeah, so Lotem is saying none of the Gazans gave info about hostages and they were offered millions. That is correct. That shows you the thinking of the average Gazan. Okay. So Monkey, you're talking about Eyal Zamir, who is the chief of staff in the IDF. I saw several comments. Feel free to make like one condensed comment with everything you're trying to say, because I couldn't quite follow the argument here. This is the asshole. So Eyal Zamir, this is the asshole that thinks he doesn't take orders from the Israeli government just to go against USA. Very performative or treasonous, one or the other. So feel free to specify what exactly you're talking about. And then I'll be able to respond properly. And also Monkey saying, oh, by the way, everyone subscribe to Monkey as well. Even though, I mean, subscribe to him after I have more subscribers than him, but then subscribe to him. And I'll also put I'll reluctantly put his channel in the chat. Okay. So does he have backing, this peace guy in Gaza? No, unfortunately not. I mean, he has some people who wouldn't admit to supporting him, but he does not have popular support. And that's the problem. If he did, then the Palestinians would be a different group, a group that we can make peace with.
We truly don't know how many people in Gaza would want peace with Israel. That's not a position that is safe to announce out loud. We assume that it's not too much, again, because of the things that we talked about earlier, of like 50% of the population grew only to Hamas interpretation, that a lot of the Fatah supporters were murdered back in 2007 already. But even the ones that do exist, because we have the little sparks of We Want to Live movement. We have Whispered in Gaza project. There's just way too few estimated.
Yeah. Okay, and now something on a different topic. Nika Shakrami is saying tomorrow is too late. Let me talk about Benjamin Nardi right now. He is a 26-year-old athlete, a professional in Muay Thai and kickboxing, and an international coach from Shiraz. I assume he's going to be executed, and that's the imminent risk of execution. So we should always keep these people in mind, and every day that passes by, the IRGC kills innocent Iranians, and we should not forget that.
Matani's asking if there will be, if now we need to prepare for a war in the weekend. I doubt. I
don't know. I stopped making predictions about when strikes will.
I refuse to believe there will be any strikes, because I just want my flight to happen.
Okay. I refuse. When's the flight?
It's next week. So
okay. So there will not be a strike in the coming week.
There will not be a strike in this weekend. There will not be a strike.Maybe at the 7th of August, but before that, nothing.
No way. No way.
Netanyahu.
for strategic reasons. For strategic reasons.
For very strategic reason, not selfish at all.
And another person mentioned by Nika Shakrami, urgent plea from prison regarding the imminent risk of execution facing a son of Iran, Ahad Shokuhian. Okay, yeah. Some ladies on my show think you are handsome. I know you're taken, but that's always nice to hear. Wait till they see your new haircut. Yeah, so this is a toupee. No, I'm kidding. I think I know who you're talking about. They also came on my show and
really?
told me how handsome I was.
You have fangirls now?
Apparently.
Ooh.
Okay, and so I also already mentioned this name, Be My Voice, so that the execution of an innocent person can be prevented. Again, Ahad Shakukian. Nika, keep posting anything. Yeah, so Gazans were offered 5 to 10 million and passports out of Gaza, and they still refused.
We do need to consider that a lot of them, their entire life, learned that you're not allowed to trust the Jews, that they are manipulated, that they are liars, and they just wouldn't accept this because of the fear of like, oh, that's probably not true. They're probably lying to us. Again, there's a lot of psychological play out here, which is why I'm being careful with my words, because we know for a fact that there are people that want peace, but the fear, the potential of, oh, maybe I will be tricked, all of this can contribute for the fact that no one has really contacted, that we know of, by the way, because we do know that there was some intel that got to the IDF, some of them through prisoners of war, but there's a potential that there were a few of us citizens and we don't know about.
Yeah.
Should the IDF help Spain with their migrants? Nah. They
no. I mean, we can't help if someone wants to commit suicide. There's only so much we can do to stop them, especially if they're across the ocean.
Yeah, it's very cruel. It's very cruel of us to try to stop someone that wants. Okay, I'm sorry.
I hope Fox gets in power. That's all I can say. Hope the Spain
Yeah.
people get a grip and vote Vox in. That's literal. I mean, otherwise the country's doomed. Um. Okay, and a couple others. So you already talked to Matan.
Yeah.
Grease Monkey, can you send me in some way the where you read the news of, because I haven't seen Eyal Zamil's message about the timetables in Lebanon. You're trying Tusi's hairstyle. He's using mine. I've had it before I knew Tusi. I think he's copying me. That's the best explanation. Um. Okay, so I'm saying it on video. Do you remember when, or if you can find it, I'd love to see it. I haven't seen it myself, and don't want to comment about something when I haven't seen it. Okay, let's see. Let's see if there are any updates. Um,
The only updates I can see are more about Iran. That Trump said that they stated that something is about to happen in regarding to Iran.
what's that? Say it again.
And Trump said that something is about to happen in regards to Iran.
That could also be a deal. Like
I know. I just there is no point for me at this point to refer too much to what Trump is saying and to what Iran is saying. All I can do is look at the movement of aircrafts on the map, of
Yeah.
seeing if they all turn off immediately their GPS. That's the best indicators of anything. And I think there's something very meaningful when it comes to, and that going a bit into politics, there is a sense of people are just confused. They don't know the amount of uncertainty, and people are starting to ask, is what Trump doing confusing the enemy, or is it just confusing us as the populace?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Where are you seeing? Can you send me a link to where you're seeing with Trump?
Just give me a sec.
Okay, so far, I mean that's all the updates we have right now. I think it's just ridiculously thick hair. Yeah. The Islamic Republic, Nika is saying the Islamic Republic has killed 52,000 Iranians to date. Have you seen anyone say even a single word about this? All major global media outlets have maintained a deathly silence. Yes. The last 3 years have been very eye-opening about global media. We'll say that much. Both with regards to Iran and with regards to Israel, in different ways. A citizen is saying deal fatigue. Yes.
Deal fatigue, war fatigue, a lot of fatigues, missiles
I'd be
fatigue.
glad to go back to war.
Yes, after the 7th.
Yes.
I'm selfish, okay.
Okay, so this is something I'll very happily do. So, Bobo, thank you for the super chat. Why don't you like Ben Gvir? Give me the facts. One, he had a picture of Baruch Goldstein on his mantle, and he only took it down because it was mildly inconvenient, not because he
You might
changed
want
his
to
position. I'm going to, yeah. I explained in other streams. Baruch Goldstein is a Jewish terrorist who went into the Tomb of the Matriarchs and shot up a few dozen people, Muslims praying there. So the best defense is a claim in hindsight that people said he did it because that was, by the way, during the Oslo peace process. He did it because they were planning a terror attack. There's no reason to assume this is true. I've never seen anything pointing to that. And also, that's not what Ben Gvir was saying in defense. He said just like he's an important doctor or something along those lines. He was being wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I'm actually for what he did.
Ben Gvir was also arrested and convicted in supporting terrorist attacks and terrorist actions and being a part of
Kach.
was it Kach? Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was a Jewish terrorist organization.
Yes, and those some of those terror attacks were also against Yitzhak Rabin, former Israeli prime minister. Now, but so that's the personal reason why he should not be a figure that is remotely acceptable in Israeli politics. I think the fact that he has become that is disgusting. In terms of the policies, he talks a big game, and only some of his very few of his policies are actually good. So you could argue that his reform of the prisons, the security prisons, is good because they no longer have a cozy lifestyle in the prisons. But the execution of terrorist bill is drafted in such a way to exclude Arab Israelis because any other way to draft it would also have to include Jewish terrorists. And he does not want to do that. So he's allowing more terrorists to avoid the death sentence because he wants to allow Jewish terrorists a chance to keep going. What were you going to say? You were going to explain exactly how that happens.
That basically we have a law that was made in 2016 that basically gives a clear definition of what is a terrorist act, what is a terrorist, and in the law that he wanted to make and made in the end, he was basically referring that anyone specifically in the West Bank that is not Jewish and that is not an Israeli citizen, and it's mainly to avoid Jewish to convict Jewish terrorists. And I just want to clarify that in our law, we had a law this entire time that the military can execute terrorists. Right, it was never being used, but it already exists. So the whole gymnastics that he did, there were a few controversies, like the campaign he made to promote this law, where he made a pin that very closely resembled the pin of the hostages, the yellow pin of the hostages, and which, oh my God,
with a noose.
Yeah, having a birthday cake that with a hanging rope. Just this entire commotion in general. As someone that's been doing hasbara, Ben Gvir and Smotrich have been the ones that have been quoted the most in every argument that I had for the past 3 years. And what can I say? It's like, oh, we have extremes. Good thing they are not in control of our war policies. Like, but they've been. Both of them have been saying one disgraceful thing after the other, things that no political figures should say, even regardless of their past, regardless of what he did. Him being in the position that he is and the statements that he made are just, it's awful.
Yes. So I want to respond to some of the comments made about this by people who are pro Ben Gvir. So Bo is saying that's old stuff about the picture. He has not denounced it or renounced it or took it back. Like I would agree, it's old stuff. He took it down in 2021, but he took it down like he said, like I'm renovating or something. Like he didn't say I was wrong at any point. So as far as I'm concerned, he still holds those positions. So what people was sitting with terrorists in the government like Mansour Abbas? Two things. One, Mansour Abbas himself is not a terrorist. He is the leader, or at least his party was the political representation of the Southern Muslim Brotherhood. But I don't think throwing around the word terrorist gives any of us like any benefits. His party supported terrorists, and his party included terrorists. I don't think he himself is a terrorist. It's not the same thing. And two, I agree that you should not sit with him in government anymore based on statements he has since made. But that doesn't, like, this is whataboutism. Two wrongs don't make a right. If
They both suck.
Yeah, so don't sit with either. Have a government where neither Ben-Gvir nor Mansour Abbas is a member. This is very possible. If you just put petty squabbles aside, you can do it. This is not a strong defense of Ben-Gvir, and I'm not on the left. Like, I'm not voting right now for any of the parties that are on the anti-Bibi bloc. I'm also not voting for a party on the pro-Bibi bloc. I'm going to vote for the Unity Party. But this is not a generic attack of the right wing. I supported, for the most part, the judicial reform, and I thought the way it was presented was insane. Like, the way it was compared to what it was, and I think you might disagree with me on this. I just want to clarify, and we can have that's a good debate. We can have some stream together. But the point is, I am not someone who's attacking the government from a partisan perspective. I am attacking Ben-Gvir from a point of decency. And Ben-Gvir, unlike Smotrich, by the way, Smotrich is a legitimate person to be in government. I disagree. I share the criticism that Sapir gave for his statements. But Smotrich, like, if you listen to his long form,
his job.
Yeah, he's good at his job. You might disagree with the things he's promoting, and also, like, he goes on long form podcasts talking about policy. Like, he went on a long form podcast with professional economists, and he was like toe to toe. Like, he knows his stuff. Ben-Gvir does not know his stuff. Ben-Gvir is bombastic and makes statements and ruins Israeli foreign relations for the purpose of riling up his own base. So first of all, I don't trust him because of that. And second of all, just out of decency, this person should not be in Israeli government. His party is called Jewish Power. It's a play on other ex-power parties. Okay, it's a picture. Might use it.
In general, in my opinion, not just for terrorism, but I think any person that was convicted, went to jail, should not be allowed to be a politician.
So I disagree.
It's not something that we have to agree on. That's my opinion.
I disagree with on that because it gives unelected people exorbitant power. Because I no longer trust the judiciary as it currently stands. But and like, that's the reason I would disagree with that. But again, that's part of a larger discussion we can have one of these days. Yeah. It's a picture. I might use it to remind myself to not be like that. What's his policies? No, he's specifically using this picture to say, like, this is a person I appreciate. So again, you can have. It's not just a picture. It's everything around the picture that shows you what kind of person he is. And what's his policies? His policies are not as because he okay. I'll respond to this in your later comment that I also just talks, no facts, lefty tropes. I assume this is lefty tropes. I did give facts, like why the policy doesn't work and why the policy is bad.
We can also talk about the fact that the cases of murders in the Arab societies, which, yes, there's a cultural part of it, and that is something that does need to be solved within the Arab community. But regardless of that, ever since Ben-Gvir, it has doubled.
Yes. And it's not just the Arab society. It's also, so you have protection by Bedouins. Yeah. So you have intra-Arab violence, and you have Arab crime families terrorizing the south of Israel. That has not improved whatsoever under Ben-Gvir.
Not just Arab crime families. In my city is one of the richest cities in Israel. Nothing ever happens here. We started to have protection stuff here. I've never thought I'm going to see something like that.
Yeah. So Nechama is saying, agreed, as an Israeli, having Ben Gvir in our government is the biggest Chilul Hashem. We're embarrassing God and ourselves with allowing this representation for us. I agree. Okay, so Grease Monkey is saying he's less hardcore than people say he is. Okay, no, that's not the issue. The only reason that that Israeli Arabs aren't part of the law is that he wants to exempt Jewish terrorists, and there's no way to do that without also exempting Israeli Arabs.
Because you won't be able to pass a law that says only Jews are not, but you can pass a law that says Israelis are exempt.
Yes, like it only applies to non-citizens, and non-citizens are much less likely to have the means to do terror attacks because they have to pass certain guarded borders, whereas Arab Israelis, that would be more likely. And he is giving up security, like he's making the law less effective in order to allow Jews to harass Palestinians in the West Bank. That's the problem.
But it is true that he's not as hardcore. He says a lot of hardcore things, but he is not he definitely doesn't go as hard as I would hope him to go.
Yeah, and so also, like, again, he ran on a law and order platform. He failed in terms of law and order. He only passed the prison reform, which was good, and on every other metric, he has failed in his role in protecting Israeli civilians because he doesn't actually care about that. He cares about the photo ops. And by the way, Smotrich also said this in one of the interviews. He said he might want the portfolio that Ben Gvir has right now because he feels like not enough is being done about it. He didn't mention him by name, but he said, yeah, basically he's not doing his job well, and we need to. The rise in crime is unacceptable. Jewish terrorists are very rare. This is true. Goldstein is a valid example, but most of the other claims are invertive lies. Invertive lies meaning that it's in self-defense and so on. I generally agree with this. For sure, compared to what it looks like from the outside.
They're over-exaggerated claims of Jewish terrorism, but they do exist. They are exceptionally rare. They have been increasing, like factually increasing.
Yeah.
Right. Not
over the last 2 years.
Yeah, and keep in mind, plenty of them have been debunked. Like, I am not here to claim that every fucking thing that the Palestinian Authority says or the Aretz says is true. But this is why I go into every separate case and I check it as much as I can. But there have been increase in legitimate, in real terrorist acts from Jews, and that needs to be addressed.
Yes, and one of the reasons this has happened is because they stopped doing Matzal Minali. How do I translate that? They removed some of the processes that the Shin Bet has to prevent these kinds of crimes.
That process was used unfairly, but instead of removing it completely, you should reform it.
Yeah. There were problems with the process. It's just that removing it in the way it was done is not the solution, because then you end up with more attacks. So he's not right-wing enough. Yeah, that's a problem. You need someone more hardcore. So the issue isn't. I don't think he's actually like properly right-wing. I think Smotrich is properly right-wing. If you want someone who's really right-wing, vote for Smotrich or vote for Feiglin. I think Feiglin would be a much. I keep saying this. Feiglin would be a much better representation of the far right in Israel, who is also eloquent and can explain his positions. Ben Gvir is not that. Ben Gvir is just a thug. So it's not about how right-wing is. It's about how thuggish he is. That's my issue with him. Mm-hmm. Okay, so Bobo is saying 70,000 armed men are only 22 kilometers away. This is true.
That is true.
And you have Ben Gvir is not the person most like dealing with this.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Smotrich is doing way more. Lieberman is doing way more. Lieberman, who is now in the opposition. This is not something that Ben Gvir has a unique holdover. In fact, he's not very effective on this. Because he talks in a way that removes Israeli legitimacy, and so we can't actually talk about legitimate problems when they pop up. Like, hey, the Palestinian Authority is building an army. They're not supposed to build an army based on the Oslo Accords. What the fuck? Okay, missed some
The
comments.
threat, like, let us be clear, the threat is very real. The threat is really there. No one is saying like, oh, there shouldn't be policies but there are policies that were completely diminished, that is just, it's just harmful that they were diminished completely, that they were abolished completely. There are things that were pretty useless that were passed. I've yet to see the death sentence being inflicted. We also have, I fail to understand, and maybe you know more about it, Guy. But I fail to understand why it was so hell bent on passing the law about the West Bank before about the Nukhbot.
I don't know why. I think because that was his law, and the law about the Nukhbat wasn't his law. But yeah, a lot of the people from the religious Zionist party. By the way, I saw Steak and Beans mention that he is a religious Zionist. Like, his party is not a sectarian party; it's just a far right party. It actually explicitly said the reason I'm not, like, he said the reason I'm not joining forces with Smotrich again is because he has a sectarian party. I have a wider voter base. But like, so the Nukhba legislation was a broad legislation agreed upon on both sides of the aisle that I think Rotman put together. Rotman is from the religious Zionist party. And he sort of had implied, again, didn't say it explicitly, but he had implied criticism for Ben Gvir's law. That like someone said to him on X, like, wait, why does the law do this and that? And basically he said, yeah, I mean, I'm not the one who put it together. Good question. Something like that. Like, people don't like Ben Gvir. Even the right wing, the people actually in politics don't like Ben Gvir.
Even my family, that is one of the most extreme right wingers I've ever known, except for my older brother. All of them dislike Ben-Gvir. All of them say that he did a crappy job and that he shouldn't have been there for the first place. My dad, there are a lot of things that I disagree with him, but that's one of the things that we agree on, that Ben-Gvir is childish. He's been acting childish throughout his entire term. He's been saying unlegitimate things that have poisoned the well, and were being quoted and used in Al Jazeera in the trial in the ICC and ICJ. He's been more harmful than good. And yes, I am also Israeli.
Yeah, okay, so I'm going through some of the comments that I missed. 1 second. Do you guys know who you're going to vote for? Oh, that's a good question. Khalil, do you have an answer? I do.
I am not sure. It takes time for me because I want to read. So it starts by me following. I'm so autistic, and I have a process. It starts by me following politicians for enough times in their social medias to see the general vibe they give, and then I read about their parties. I read about the members of the parties, and I see how they manage their own campaign. I read if they have like ready policies or things that might indicate on more structure than just like an idea. And based on all of that, I decide. I am still in that process of that, so it'll take me time.
That's very fair. The only reason I know who I'm voting for is because there's going to be only one party that gets me to the government that I want, which is the unity government. And that's what I'm basing my vote on. Now, right now, there's like 4 different parties or 5 different parties, but I think it's foregone conclusion that they're going to coalesce into one party with the unity ticket, because otherwise they're not going to pass the threshold. And if they do that, they'll have like 10 seats. So I that's probably where my vote is going to go. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do.
There are a lot of comments that we should probably address.
So
It's
which one
actually
specifically?
no, it's just really nice to, just in general, there are more people here that it's their first time here and just like welcome. And it's so nice to see people here and they care and they engage. So whether you agree with us, whether or not, I think, or with me or with you, because a lot of we do have separate opinions. We are separate people. We appreciate you being here.
Yeah, absolutely. And keep coming to future streams. Yeah, okay. So
There is violence in all cultures. Yes, there is violence in all cultures, but there's a difference between it, yeah, but you said it, but terrorism is another matter. So when I'm so just to be clear, like I said earlier, for the people who just joined, we have a law in Israel, which was made in 2016, which gives a legal definition of what is considered to be a terrorist act, what is considered to be terrorism, and what is considered to be a terrorist. By that definition, yes, when I'm talking about Jewish terrorism, I'm not talking about the ones that throwing back rocks on ones and Palestinians that throwing rocks at them. I'm not talking even about the ones that trying. Even though I disagree with it, I'm not even talking about the ones that are trying to take revenge on a family that of Palestinians that have tried to kill them before. Like, I am talking about the ones that are going into the villages, started to torch and lit on fire like entire buildings and mosques, and that's what I'm talking about when I'm referring to Jewish terrorism. Let me be clear, because the rest is a gray zone that I always need to wait to get more details for. But that's what I'm personally talking about, like a very clear and cut cases of terrorism.
yeah. So I agree with that. Okay, so I'll go through some of the comments quickly. Then I think we might wrap it up. I don't see any new updates. But this was fun. And okay, so I'll go through the comments and some of the things I want to say will come up there. Commentary on the Afro-Arab invasion of Europe. We mentioned this briefly before, and thank you for the super chat, by the way, Bobo. Spain is committing suicide. Sanchez is destroying Europe. Europe itself is starting to rise up because it's way, way too extreme. And I hope this move is going to lead to him losing in a landslide in the election. I think he's trying to naturalize enough people to counteract that, but I really hope he loses the election. I don't know, because Spain is generally more left wing than other places. But I mean, it's insane, and the fact that it got to this point says a lot about where Europe is. Okay, so I think I convinced Monkey. Okay, okay, so too soft in law and bad internationally. Okay, I see 2 points against him. Yeah, basically, and there is also the value-based assessment that just this person should not be in power because of who he is and what he represents.
And the
But
things that he was convicted in, and
yeah. And like, he can run. I just don't think you should put him in a government. He can be very good opposition by constantly pointing out the things that are wrong in the government. That he's good with. Like, that's something he's good at. Like, so this is not right wing enough. You need a voice. Like, you need a voice saying this is not left wing enough. You need those voices in your parliamentary system. You don't need to make him give him the portfolio of Homeland Security. Okay. Ho mayafit smolim netiya avdanit. So mayafit. I'll translate this. Essentially, I think Rotem, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but Rotem is accusing us of being either left wingers or the Hayamin Elki, like the value laden right, which is to say people who
we have
are
suicidal empathy.
yeah.
I
But
always find
basically,
it
that would be
funny.
like right wingers that don't like Netanyahu and stuff like that. I don't think this applies to me. Like, I'm not voting for Netanyahu right now for several reasons, but I'm not fundamentally against the several components on the coalition. I like, for example, I would mind Smotrich being in the next government, and I want Netanyahu in the next government. I'm not. So someone mentioned earlier. I'm going to get to that. I'm not against. Like, I'm not voting for Handel. I'm not going to vote for a party that wants to make the other bloc strong enough. I don't want the Democrats in the government. Right? I think they see dangers that don't exist, and that makes them dangerous. Okay, so the problem with Ben Gvir is that the media brainwashed people to think he is bad. Some people. So there's a difference between some people attribute too many things to Ben Gvir in terms of what he's actually doing, and actually just having like legitimate criticism. I'm not, as you noticed, I didn't point out a lot of the fake things that are said about him. Like, people can criticize Trump for legitimate reasons as well. That doesn't mean that criticizing him for the Fine People hoax is valid. But you can also, at the same time, the existence of the Fine People hoax doesn't mean that every criticism of a person is based on media lies.
And I think
the media can lie about the person, you can still criticize them. Both of those things can be true.
I think we both try to be as reasonable as possible when we talk about criticizing political figures here. Like, I don't know if like you were talking about me specifically, or like you're talking about Guy or both of us. There's just a lot of people that love to put people love to put things into boxes.
Yeah.
Like, very, very very natural brain thing to do. But it's just like, in general, I personally aim to say the nuance in about like what Wotam said earlier about the small the leftist mindset of like, I been called everything from a leftist to a Bibi supporter to a rightist, and so I think I'm in a pretty good position here, being hated from all sides. It's just nuance, and we don't have to agree over everything, but the most important thing is to have the dialogue and actually listen to what people are saying, and this is why channels like this are really important.
Yeah. Oh, another thing about Ben Gvir that I forgot to mention. Now, he said this recently, and I was absolutely not surprised by this. He's left-wing economically, meaning he is economically illiterate. He's a lot of things illiterate, not literally illiterate, but he's not a very... he doesn't think deeply about things, and I think you need someone just better to represent the far right. I think Smotrich is a much better option. I think Feiglin is a much better option. You have several options. Even Michael Ben-Ari is a much better option. He thinks deeply about things. He wrote a book about why he believes what he believes. Ben Gvir specifically, I have a problem with, not because he is right wing or far right or whatever you want to say. It's because of the specific person that he is and the kind of party that he has built. With one exception being Almog, what's his name? There was one good parliamentarian in Otzma Yehudit.
I know who you're talking about. I genuinely,
I'm blanking on the name.
Yeah.
And I think he left. So what I'm saying, we had a recent case of inverted lies 2 days ago. Yes, we had a Palestinian stealing a weapon and shooting people who were going on a trip, and then you can according to the
as settlers are coming in and invading each other. Like, I get that, and it's like, again, this is why I look at every case separately. Almog Cohen.
Almog Cohen, yes, Almog Cohen. That's why I forgot the last name, because it's the most generic one.
Nick,
and but was saying
Israel. I disagree with that heavily. Nick Fettes has a bit. I think it has more nuance than
way more.
way
I mean, Nick
more.
Fuentes is way more intelligent and nuanced than Ben Gvir. So Ben Gvir is more of a Jake Shields kind of person. Like we have let's say Feiglin is our Nick Fuentes. I don't quite agree with that either. But for the sake of argument, Feiglin would be like the Nick Fuentes type, and Ben Gvir would be like the Jake Shields type. Imagine giving Jake Shields a portfolio. It's exaggerated on both, and like I completely reject the actual comparison, but just in terms of like the parallels between their individual movements, you have someone who is well thought out and intelligent in Fuentes and in Feiglin, and again, the only comparison is that they are the fringes of their respective political spectrums. Not that they're the same. I'm not saying anything about them being the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
What I would
Okay,
like to know from you is what do you think about the recent developments in the Likud and the people that were in the Likud for a long time that left? Like,
I'm going to talk about that in a couple of comments.
Mhm.
There is a comment about which one would I vote for. I'm gonna mention that in response. I did do a stream about this, where I think actually that Netanyahu may have went a step too far. Okay, so Jewish terrorists are very rare. Goldstein is a valid example. Most of the other claims are inverted lies. Yes, which is why I specifically gave the Goldstein example and not the other ones.
Yeah.
Okay, every business being terrorized by Arab crime families and the police are completely useless. Yes, that is the problem. That is
not just Arab.
Not just Arab crime families, but in general, like the amount of crime in Israel right now is insane because Ben Gvir has failed in his job in everything that doesn't include photo ops and things he can like dangle in front of his constituents.
Like the
Kevin,
crime families that we have that enter to our cities are not Arab. I'm just gonna say it right here. I know that for a fact.
Okay. Kevin is asking, Guy, what do you think about the 18 to 21-year-old conscripts in the IDF going AWOL and insubordinate against their officers, please? So not a lot is known about this event, but it does seem to be a very, I don't know what the officer did, but it was a very vast overreaction. You do know?
I know, and not a lot of details about it because I also know soldiers from there.
Okay.
So, and I talked about it yesterday at the start of Armin's stream.
So you know what? Actually, let's wait until we go over the other comments because they're going to relate to the questions that was asked, and then we'll get back to this after. So I'll leave the star here, and then we'll get back to it.
Okay.
I live near a lot of Israeli Arab towns, and there's shooting every night. Yes. But that was always the case. To be fair to Ben Gvir, that's not new. And you can't expect him to solve everything in 4 years. Okay. Do they align with your beliefs? So there's a question about which party I'm going to vote for. My beliefs are varied depending on topic, and no party is going to align with all of them. I'm voting. The main belief that I'm going to be voting on is the belief that we need to have a government that doesn't include the ultra-Orthodox and doesn't include any Arab parties, or doesn't have the Arab parties or like either side as in a position to extort concessions from the government. The specific party I will vote for, if there are several. First of all, if there are several, they've all failed. There should be one. If you can't form a unity within the unity camp, then I'm sorry, you're not fit for purpose. If there's more than one, I might not vote for them. I might have to make a different decision. I just can't imagine they're not going to be able to find common ground and unite, seeing as the differences between them are so minuscule. So the specific party that of them that I'm probably going to vote for hasn't officially been founded yet. It's the one that would have Edelstein, Erdan, Shaked. Presumably Sharon Eskel would also be there, although we'll see now if she committed perjury, then that's both wrong and probably will disqualify her. So we'll see. But that would be the one I would vote for. Like if I had to choose one of the unity lists, but I'm probably not going to have to choose. I'm probably just gonna have all of them, like as a single party. And then like they don't have a portfolio yet, so we'll see what their portfolio is. But roughly, I would be right wing economically. Like I think in terms of a list, if I had my ideal list, it would probably in terms of what it offers, I would probably vote for El Hadegel. That would be probably the party that I would go for. Initially, I thought they were very superficial, and then I delved more into. Oh wow, they're actually well thought out, and I agree with most of what they're saying. So Politicus is asking, what is this channel about? So depending on which channel it is, if it's Liberty Politics, it's about liberty politics, roughly advocating for liberal policies and saving the West and so on. And if it's my channel, Guy Landau IL, then it's about geopolitics from a specifically Israeli perspective. So actually, Liberty Politics deals with global geopolitics from different perspectives. You have the Iranian perspective, the anti-IRGC perspective. You have American perspective. You're going to have European perspective. Right now, you have me as the Israeli/Middle Eastern perspective. Maybe we'll have other Middle Easterns come in if they're pro liberty. And my channel is I put it in the chat. You can see Liberty Politics. So both channels you can see. And we have the monkey perspective.
And
I talk about. And Sapia is a guest here, but she also has a channel, and you can explain what your channel is about in a second if you want. Mm-hmm. And I do geopolitics from an Israeli perspective, and sometimes philosophy.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same as you, Guy. That I'm talking more about geopolitical stuff from the Israeli side, and occasionally philosophy and education.
Right. Cool. Yeah. Right. We have the education stream that we might do together.
Do that.
Okay. And Khalil is saying, I think I'll vote for Yoaz Hendel, but I change my mind every day. I don't think you have to make that decision anywhere close to now. When the lists close, things will look very different. And I'm not going to make that decision until the lists close. I predict that this party is going to unite with the Guns Party, which is going to also unite with the right wing. You have the center unity, the right-leaning unity, and the left-leaning unity, and they're probably all going to unite to one party. And I don't think Yoaz Hendel, the party, is going to stay as it is right now by election time. So I wouldn't make that decision yet. Just like I wouldn't worry about it yet because you don't know what the list would be. Okay, so Motorpool Grease Monkey. I think we convinced him against Ben-Gvir. If you're not hanging an Arab citizen turned terrorist, which is more likely because you dream of the unlikely Jewish terrorist, you're making everything less safe. Gvir deluded, manifesting like a lefty. Yes, and he's also left-wing economically.
By the way, the only reason I support the death sentence is because I want us to have more space in our prisons. Because let's be honest, most of the terrorists they're prepared to die. They're suicidal. They know they are happy to be shaheeds. So it's not like it's gonna deter them from doing terrorist attack. Maybe some of them, but most of them know.
Yeah, so
it's mostly so we can have more space in our prisons. That's my take on it.
That's the reason I support the executioner being female explicitly, because that sort of nullifies the like they're not going to be shaheeds if they die by the hands of a female. Apparently,
I didn't know that actually.
Yeah,
I'm ready to
help. You'll volunteer. So wait, guys. So which one again? Which unity party? If I had to choose, I would go for the right wing one, like the Shaked one. Shagan Eskel, that one would probably be the one I would go for. But again, I hope to not have to make that decision because they'll all just run together.
I also want to refer to Rotem's comment. She did another comment in Hebrew. You don't have to agree with us. You don't have to be. It just the only thing I'm pointing out is that there's like nuance to what we say. and we're trying to not go too left or right with anything. And I don't expect you. It's very tiring. It's a very tiring thing to see all the nuance. So I just want you to take into consideration. You don't have to like be on board with all of this. Like I get that you used to be a leftist and now you, I don't know, maybe disgusted from the left wing in general. But as long as you can have respectable discussion, because I don't think you'd find here too many leftist takes. Not to the degree that other people do. Like we can talk about a leftist mentality when we're talking about social policies, but not. You won't really find extreme here, at least from the Middle Eastern perspective, because I know from the Western perspective, a lot of things that we say sound extreme.
Yeah, so I lost my headphone halfway through what you were saying.
Okay.
I
want to.
Oh, I see the comment. So this is the comment you're talking about.
Yeah, and what if
not about
later
both sizing.
Yeah, and Rotimi also said after that, like right now, it's like that her entire family is still like that, and it's hard for the suicidal empathy. And I have two things to say about it. One, that guy can probably relate with their family, and two, that where at what point did you get the impression here of any suicidal empathy? Because that's my question to you.
Okay. Good. Oh, and yeah, so I forgot to mention the group discussion. Yes, join the group discussion right here. Every day Armin has a group discussion, and Sapir is often there as well. I'm sometimes there as well, although since I started streaming, I've had less time, unfortunately. But also, I do a stream every Monday, like a Q&A, and you can come there and argue with me. Rotem, you can come there and argue with me, convince me that I'm wrong and that I'm both sidesing and so on. Yeah. And like anyone is welcome. Even IDF and Jew Hater are both welcome. That would be very funny. So anyone is welcome, and you can challenge me there properly, like in voice, not just comments that I get to cherry pick to make myself look smarter than I am. I don't do that.
I think I do it a lot. Not gonna lie.
Oh, okay. I revealed too much
mostly because of the position of being a teacher, and always I have to look like I'm in control of the time. So it's a very because if you don't, you think the Middle East will eat you alive. The parents will eat you alive. Like Middle Eastern parents are terrifying.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going through some of the comments. There's a lot of comments, so thank you everyone for commenting, and also like the new people coming in. Oh, Jasper here. Hey, Jasper. He's a the troll whose name starts with E. I don't know who's the troll whose name starts with E. I know of two trolls. One of them is timed out. I never ban anyone from Armin's channel.
Yes, okay. Guy, you said something about Lieberman. You talked about specifically about their security policies and what you think of them instead of Ben-Gvir, like in comparison.
I think Lieberman is much better. Again, more well thought out. The security on security, I think they're about equal. Now, you could argue no, because Lieberman is willing to accept sitting in the government with the Democrats, and he doesn't want to. Like he's not only going for a right-wing government, but I think that he thinks that he'll be able to control the security direction of the government. And for example, he thinks that the ultra-Orthodox are a bigger problem. Okay. So Motorride is saying there's a difference between violence and pure Nazism and evil like the Palestinian Nazis. Yeah, I don't like the equivocation, and like we condemn our terrorists, and they name streets after them, and
Yeah.
also our terrorists by and large, like our worst terrorist is like the average on the Palestinian side. So it's not even remotely close to being anything um anything similar. And KB Anti-Commie is saying, first time listening to anything about Israeli politics myself. Well, if you're interested, then my channel has several live streams. And I mean, I'm doing them, I'm doing several a week now. And
And
also
I'm
I'll
like,
be uploading
yeah.
videos.
And I'm trying to upload videos, but it takes me time to get
Yeah.
motivated. But you will see me
Uh,
in some of the streams and the discussion group
yeah.
sometimes in
So,
Armin's channel.
so welcome. And if you like what you see, then feel free to join the channels.
And
Again,
let us know
I'll
what
put
you
them.
think. That's my
Yeah.
question. People that like for the
Yes.
first time here, I'm always interested to see the outside perspective of people when you have people like us talking about Israeli politics.
Yeah. Okay. Bobo, Jews in Sweden are just as crazy. Vote for Muslim. Yeah, so we talked about this extensively several times, Bobo, about why Jews in the West have that suicidal empathy and why they're by and large left wing nutters. I'm not going to bring it up again here. Also, we have to finish in a couple minutes. But yeah, I mean, it's not surprising, unfortunately, and you already know the answer why. And if anyone else watching this is interested, go watch my previous couple of streams. Boba is usually early, and several of them talked about this issue. A citizen is asking what's wrong with Bibi. He's okay. Am I missing something? So some people will say Bibi is great. Some people will say Bibi is the devil. Bibi is a very adept politician. I trust him more than anyone else in terms of navigating geopolitics. I don't trust him in terms of coalition building. That's a problem. I don't trust him to not kowtow to the ultra orthodox and to put his foot down with Ben-Gvir. I want Bibi to be the leader, but I want him to have a sane government with people who are slightly to the right of him and slightly to the left of him on various issues, and have that be like the coalition. I trust him more as prime minister than I do Eisenhower, for example.
I don't know what I don't think Bibi should stay prime minister. That's my only opinion about that, and not because of just like anti-Bibi stuff. I respect the man a lot. I think he had too much pressure, and looking at his recent speeches from the past few years, especially when addressing to international crowds, I feel like he became pretty disconnected, and I feel like he is more easily pushed around because he used to be like iron firm, like you wouldn't budge. I feel like he should be an advisor. He should be up there, but not a governor anymore. I miss his old policies. I miss the 2003 policy made when he was
Finance minister.
Finance minister that
Yeah.
basically got more orthodox people to start working. He's based in a lot of stuff. I just don't think he should remain prime minister, both for his own sake and I think as a publicity thing at this point, which some people might disagree with. It sounds like we are giving up for terrorism, but my reasons are beyond just what it looks to the world, but the way he's handling it, especially in his last term, which a lot of pressure, by the way. Like,
yeah,
I try to not like. I criticize him. I don't judge him.
yeah, which is fair, and also like I think the last government also, yeah, you're right with the pressure. At the same time, I just think that if his government from the get-go included people who are like center, as opposed to what he had to deal with, who have like a broad perspective, even if you disagree with some of it, I think it would be a lot better and a lot healthier for Israel than what we
I
ended up getting.
Yeah, I think the main problem, because for the people who don't know, um,
By the way,
this
we have to
government.
finish the stream in a couple in like now.
Okay, so I'm gonna be real quick about it. This government has been formed after 5 elections in 3 years.
Yeah.
Because the country was so divided, and no one managed to get enough people to create a coalition, and it got to the point, that like left wingers were like, we're not going to join any of the right wing parties, or the right wings, we're not going to join any of the left wing parties. So this government is a very extreme example of what Israeli politics.
Yes, and by the way, it's due to the trial. Without the trial, a lot of them wouldn't have the justification to not join the government by Netanyahu. And now it seems like a lot of the trial was like the bribery charge has failed, and it has failed 3 years ago, and they said no, we want to keep going, because we're going to prove it in the defense, and then predictably, oh wow, the defense didn't convict the person doing the defending. Shocked. And so they wasted a lot of time, the prosecution, and I think a lot of this could have been avoided. Okay, so vote for the party that has mostly your values. The issue is that I also don't want to waste my vote, and because we have, in my opinion, too high of a threshold to join the parliament, you shouldn't vote for a party that has no realistic chance of going in. That's unfortunate.
That was my mistake at the first time that I voted, because I voted to a party that didn't even pass the block percentage.
Yeah. Okay. So we have to end. I didn't get to go through all the comments. Yeah. So I mean, this is true. The reason the government does not include more center or center left is that the left is just against him no matter what, not through fault of his own. I agree with this. I don't think he wanted Ben Gvir in his government. I think he was left with no choice but put Ben Gvir in his government because he was boycotted by everyone to the left of him. And I think now there's a chance to force the people on the left to agree to sit with him. And E is saying like and subscribe. Please do. Okay. Yeah, we're basically...
Yeah, we're overlapping.
That's it. Yeah, okay, so go watch... I mean, Armin and Monkey are now streaming. Go watch their stream as well. They're going to talk about Iran and all the latest developments. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, go watch them. It's been fun. Thank you, Sophia, for coming, because I was not prepared to go the whole 2 hours without you. Like, I did not have the energy to do this alone. So thank you. And yeah, as we said, we will do this again together soon. Great. All right. So see you all next week. Yeah. Bye.